Hello, I'm Samantha, and today we're going to do a short bowspring practice, and we'll start seated on a block. If your hips are tight, you might need 2 blocks so that when you sit on them you have that inward curve of the low back. You can take your hands and pull your buttocks flesh out. Use your hands to sculpt the waistline more narrowed, so it's like we're separating the ribs from the hips. Lift your ribs up, and we're going to start with a seed hand. So squeeze your seed hand to find some tone around the bone, tone your whole wing, and we're just going to keep the back heart full as we lift the arms up towards a superhero stretch. Keep that, and now press the tops of the feet into the floor. Lift your hips up. And we're going to hinge the hips back. Touch your hands down, dome to spring. Slide your blocks to the side, and we'll start in an all-fours position. Engage the sides of your hands. Press the tops of your feet into the floor. Keep your tail lifted and take some pulsations forward and back. You can take it side to side. Sway with the ribs. We'll draw the hips back and forth, keeping the heart full. And we'll go to humble cat left. So I'm going to roll over the top of my left paw, slide your right foot to the right in a kickstand, and draw the hips back without tucking the tail. So you still got that happy tailbone lifted. You're digging the left paw down and forward. Start to tilt the crown towards the right hand. Now keep that right hand strong and toned. Dome your left hand, and then seed your left hand, and then reach that seed hand up and over your head. Spiral your left arm in an external rotation. From here, bend at the left elbow, sweep the hand to the side of the head. Ecstasy. You can even sweep your fingers to the back of your head so you can bow backwards and open the belly. Then we'll go to the other side. Transition mindfully. Humble cat right. Dome hand right. Seed hand right. Reach that side body. Spiral at the right armpit, and then bend at the elbow. Ecstasy your headrest. Sit the hips back and bow. Open. And then transition mindfully back to all fours. Spring load the hips, come back. Today we're going to work on our bowspring splits, the forward splits and the side splits. So we're going to use our blocks. So have your blocks nearby. First we're just going to start with a low lunge. So we'll parallel park the hips to the left, step forward with your right foot. Land with the right paw. And I'm going to turn to face the camera here to show you the tendency in this lunge. When we draw our hips back, the tendency is for the inside of the foot to disconnect and the knee to go wide. So we're really going to look to repattern the tissue so that it goes the opposite way. So keep that big toe mound rooted down. We'll draw the hips back, and then we'll even turn the tissue of the thigh in an internal rotation. So keep that big toe rooted and the mound of the toe rooted as well. We'll draw the groins deep, and you can even grab the booty. Pull this flesh of the thigh up and over. So you're getting that internal rotation, which we're going to use later on in the splits. So I call this greasing the gears here. We're getting ready for what we're going to be doing. Let's do the other side now. Parallel park left, step back right, parallel park right, step forward left. Keep the internal edge rooted, slide the hips back, and then work the tissue the opposite of the pattern that it gets stuck in. When I draw it back really far, I feel like I'm really getting some good work done. You can even take a hand to the inside of the thigh and spiral it in. You can do that for as long as you need to. We're gonna step the left foot back, parallel park right. Grab your blocks. I recommend keeping your blocks at the high point. You might even need something a little bit higher than that. So like you can be next to a table or an ottoman or something. All right, so we're gonna start where we were. Okay, this time we're gonna walk the foot out a lot. Walk your back knee back. And notice I'm gonna keep my back foot in a hero position. So the tendency will want to sickle it and go flat in the ankle, but instead I'll keep the hero. And then the front foot, I'll walk it out about that far. And I'm gonna pull the top of the foot backwards to create that rounding on the top of the foot and that hollowing, the narrowing of the sides of the foot, and the toes stay down, okay? That's really important. Okay, here the tendency is for the left hip to go back. Instead, I'm gonna go opposite of that, opposite of the tendency, right hip back, left hip forward, and then lift through the radiant heart. I'm really pulling that right hip back, and now you can see my tailbone starting to tuck a little bit. I'm gonna energetically push the knee down and forward. That's about as far as I can go without losing integrity and widening the left hip, okay? Let's try the other side. I could probably go all the way down if I flipped my hip back. That's not what we're doing in the bowspring. We're trying to go against the pattern that our fascia's in, all right? So this side, it's not exactly a graceful one to get into, but we do our best. Keep the integrity in the feet. Really pushing my right knee forward on this one, because when I broke my right ankle, the hip was more affected than the ankle actually. So I really have to worry about keeping that right hip rooted and the left one as well here, because if I just went into my flexibility, my right hip would pop forward, my left hip would slide all the way forward, and I would be into kind of like that, which is not what we're doing. So I might not be as flexible, I might not be able to go down as much, but I am working with integrity and towards functional freedom. Okay, that was that. Okay, the next one we're gonna do is the frog pose. I'm gonna do this one from the side, so I'm gonna turn my mat. Okay, this one, you're gonna take your feet into their hero position, and I'm gonna go wide with the knees. Now you can use your blocks here. Put your elbows on. Keep your knees and your feet and your thighs in a 90-degree position. So avoid this. Keep them 90 degrees, and you can go pretty deep down depending on where you're at. I'm gonna just check that my hips are behind my knees, and I'm gonna press my knees forward and up. You might even want to come down to your belly. Again, I'm not collapsed here. I'm still energetically pressing the knees forward and up, using the feet to lift the glutes up and wide. You can even press the heels down, hollow the feet, and find that fiesta flare. Now to come out of it, you're going to come out one knee at a time, narrow, narrow. Just like that. Hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions.